Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I've got a monster video for you. And that's because I'm not going to be playing the best tanks with regards to a stat, I'm going to be playing the worst tanks with regards to a stat. And today it's going to be focusing on accuracy. So I'm going to be playing the least accurate tanks inside the game. I've scoured Tanks GG, put some thought to it, and I've decided to start off with a tier 9 American light tank. Yeah, with a 152mm derp gun, it is the T49. This vehicle, with that 152mm, has 0.57 accuracy. And currently it has the second worst win ratio of any of the tier 9 light tanks because of it. Okay, full disclosure, I end up getting usually very frustrated when I'm playing with inconsistent tanks, like I'm going to be featuring in the video today. So if this is a horrible frustration fest, it's not my fault, it's the tank's fault, okay? So the T49, the little derp lord, there are actually two competitive guns on this tank. You can either play with the 90mm gun, or you can play with the 152mm gun. However, considering that the 90mm gun has a fairly accurate, at least with regards to the scope of this video, 0.4, I'm going to be using the 152mm today. However, the 152mm gun, now that there's intuition in the game, has whole new opportunities for being able to switch amongst its plethora of shells. Or shall I say, you have cheap high explosive rounds, you have expensive but higher pen explosive rounds, and then you have heat rounds as well, which are actually quite cheap, only 700 credits a shot, or 770 if we're being pedantic, with 152mm of pen. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, without further ado, let's jump right in with the least accurate high tier light tank, or possibly even the least accurate light tank in the entire game. It is the T49. So this vehicle, before the HE nerfs, was kind of a bit of a meme that people played. However, you don't really see them all that much these days. Alright, so I'm spawning in on mines, and oh dear, this could be just an absolute bloodbath from the beginning. When you're playing a vehicle like this, usually it's the derp gun that actually is the threat, but when you're kind of forced to have to contest arguably the most important location, which will be the hill, could be ugly. Or it could be great with my alpha damage. Win the hill, friends! That's what we're gonna say, because I'm doing it. Oh dear, this could be a disaster. I got a 20-second reload, and that's because I've tried to do everything that I can to improve my gun handling and improve my accuracy in this vehicle. So I'm not actually taking a gun rammer, I'm using vertical stabilizers, I'm using vents. Do you know one thing that's really weird about this vehicle? Is its dispersion values when it's moving are not actually too bad. It's only when you turn the turret that the reticle really blooms out. Accordingly, I've taken snapshot and I've taken a directive to double the effectiveness of snapshot, and oh dear, this could be pretty ugly for him. Where's he gonna go? Is he just gonna drive that way? No! Oh god, they destroyed HE! Oh, they destroyed HE! The humanity! Now I have to try and avoid this guy for like 10 seconds and hope that I'm faster than him. Oh, I don't think I'm faster than him. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Shoot me through the gap, will you? No? Oh god, this is getting stupid now. Hello. Has he got friends coming up on the hill? He does. Oh, can I kill him and then kill his friends as well? I gotta survive for another 9 seconds. He's trying so hard to chase me. Bless him. Artillery stuns him. I got 3 seconds left. Maybe your tracks absorb this one. I think this is why people love playing derp tanks. Has this guy actually realized that I'm up on the hill, by the way? I think he has. Do you think I'll do like 300 damage to him with my HE though, or do I have to load a different shell? Alright, let's go after him. I think he'll be chasing me down. Maybe he'll think I've left the hill. Let's go. Where is he? Where's that T54? I think he must be round there. He must have gone round there to try and chase me the other way then. He has to be. Oh god, there's a TVP. Oh, I'm spotted! Oh, come on, derp gun, don't fail me now. I've got to hit his soft armor. No, only 288. No, come on. Oh. Well, at least I hope it was at least remotely entertaining for all of you. Oh my goodness gracious. Did I just drive... ring around the rocks for about a minute there, trying to play some kind of awful game of kissy chase with the WZ-132. Well, looks like I managed to come out on top of that one. So, unfortunately, in that game, you pretty much saw why the T49 was pretty much destroyed. And that was that it doesn't splash anymore. High explosive rounds used to splash for quite a large amount of radius. But now, even though I hit the WZ132A with my first shot, it didn't actually even manage to damage him. Previously, I'm pretty sure that would have done at least about 3... Wait a minute, that's me, sorry. Let's take a look at the shell at the WZ132A. That shell, I'd say that would have done at least about 300, 400 damage to him. And that really is the problem with the derp gun. And also, I would argue that maybe this shell would have done probably about the same, I think, in the previous iteration of high explosive rounds. So the T49, at least it's a little bit of fun, I hope. And I think this is probably why the T49 has such a bad win rate. It could go in, kind of have some fun, but it just doesn't really have that kind of longevity or the dependability of the shells to be able to get the job done. Nevertheless, a lot of people still play it, so maybe people are just playing it, having a bit of a giggle and not thinking about winning at least the majority of their games. So now, ladies and gents, boys and girls, I've got a little bit of a dilemma, and that is that there are two very inaccurate heavy tanks in the game that just fill me with a large amount of happiness or sorrow. Firstly, there is the Type 5 Heavy that with the derp gun has 0.47 accuracy. But of course, we don't have to always play high tier. We can also play like the mid tier. And then we have the KV-2, which has 0.6 accuracy. Well, why don't we play the high tier one first? I feel like I need a little bit of meat after struggling there with having the light tank armor of the T49. So how does the Type 5 Heavy do? Well, it actually does pretty okay. It's right in the middle of the pack. Although I would argue that a lot of people probably aren't using the derp gun on the Type 5 Heavy. And full disclosure, I think that once again, you'd be pretty silly to not use the 140mm instead of the 150mm on this tank. The 140mm is just so much more dependable with premium rounds that can actually deal with heavily armored vehicles. Nevertheless, if you're able to penetrate with the 192mm premium high explosive rounds the Type 5 Heavy has, it can actually get rather scary. Accordingly, I'm going to use the derp gun. We're going to have intuition, so we're going to be able to switch out between our shells. And Wargaming did actually buff this gun quite substantially when they made the high explosive changes, because they gave it access to an armor piercing round. And that armor piercing round, while it's only got 680 damage, and that's really not very high for a heavy tank, is still very good for being able to overmatch plates, because this is a 152mm caliber gun, and you'll be surprised at the amount of 50mm plates there are in the game, especially on the roofs of vehicles, or even the fact that you're just this gigantic vehicle that can kind of aim down on your opponents. Oh, managed to win that T49 game. I will take that. I'm not going to try and claim that it was my impact up on the hill, though. I think I got carried in that one. All right, so Godzilla has a pretty nice matchup here. I'm basically going to just try and get forwards and see if I can be able to dump rounds on my opponents. In this kind of a matchup, though, you know who really has the good matchup is the VZ55. He's probably salivating at the prospect of dumping gold rounds into my weak points here, or even on top. Artillery says, nice skin type. I'm going to press affirmative. It is a nice skin. It is pretty ridiculous, right? Lots of people always ask where this one comes from, and I believe it comes from the Christmas event. Look, everybody wants to support me. Everybody wants to support me by shooting my tank. Everybody wants to support me by saying they're going to help me. Hooray, let's go, boys. So I got a concept there, and yeah, he just basically shot right at my gun with gold and managed to penetrate. Oh, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, so we've got a VZ55 who's actually making quite an aggressive play down there. I got one spotting on the concept. Thanks, Artie. I really appreciate that. I'm going to try and get across here. I know that the concept's going to end up in that window and start firing heat at me again. I really want to try and pressure this VZ55. I'm trying to think about how I'm going to do so. Alright, so sometimes when you play the Type 5 Heavy, it's about being a support tank. And sometimes when you play the Type 5 Heavy, it's about being a derpy tank. Alright? So you know that VZ55? Oh my lord, is that T110E4 really doing what I think he's doing? Is he going to go around the corner and deliver a shell of American justice to the back of the Czechoslovakian Heavy? Possibly. I'm going to tell this AE Phase 1 that I'm going to help him as well. And let's go for this then. This is where, you know, I got 3,320 hit points. Do I really have to worry about such things as losing my hit points to silly little autoloaders? Alright, let's go get this guy. Hopefully he's going to turn his tank, and he does, and that means that I don't kill him because I'm slow. But maybe I can get the shell in over here against the A phase 1. Artillery has managed to hit me, but did fairly little damage, and we managed to put an AP shell in there. Alright, that's rather unfortunate that our A phase 1 just got cut down in his prime. Let's see if we can turn our tank, and then we can maybe end up hold down on the A phase 1 here. Now this is where this tank is pretty good if they don't fire gold, but as soon as they do, you really start to struggle. Well, the AP rounds on this tank actually doing pretty good. Doesn't really feel like we have the least accurate kind of vehicle right now. Unfortunately, we got stunned there. That's really not very cool. I've also got to watch out because as soon as that concept comes over, I'm going to be in a lot of pain. The T124 is going forwards, which is fine, but luckily I'm so tall that I can just shoot over these wrecks. I don't want to push that wreck right now because he might be using it for cover or he might shoot over it, but he needs to hurry up, otherwise the artillery is going to shoot us again. And I don't want to keep getting stunned, and I am going to get stunned. Don't know why he took what felt like forever there to shoot a Stridsvagn K. So I can't overmatch the side of the Stridsvagn K. The concepts actually cross the street in a very aggressive fashion. I guess because he wants to try and deal with me and deal with me with his high explosive anti-tank rounds. So I just got to hope that my armor holds up there. He's actually got very low pen heat, so he's going to struggle. So far I haven't actually managed to make use of any of the high explosive rounds that this tank has, but that's to be expected. I'm trying to think about how I can get this guy here. Maybe I can get on top of his tank and actually overmatch it. I can. This is where this vehicle is great. Oh no, I've got to go around the corner, otherwise the Stridsvagn K is going to get me. I just lost my loader at the worst possible time. Got to turn this guy to the side and then hope that my friends are going to help me out here. Try and bait him with a play like that. Shoot on his engine deck maybe. There we go. Then I'm going to expose him to my friends, and they're going to kill him. And that is just what the Type 5 Heavy does. It's a big, stupid, fat boy tank. And irrelevant if that player is using like the most overpowered Tier 9 Heavy, I would say, all in all. There's not really too much that they can do when you just throw yourself at them, use your hit points, keep your armor moving. He can fire all the gold that he wants, and it's not going to be able to stop the inevitable that we are going to overpower our opponents in that fashion. So now I'm thinking about changing to HE. Oh my god, why did I do that? One of my loaders is dead. That was the most stupid thing I could ever do. So my intuition doesn't work when one of my loaders is dead. But I really want to get an HE pen for all of you, you know? Okay, what are you going to do? How about I just shoot down on you like that? No, that didn't work. Oh well, at least I can have some fun with him, right? This is the thing. Like, it doesn't work, but it does work. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully you do. And what are we seeing about playing the least accurate tanks? Well, we're seeing that when you play the least accurate tanks, it doesn't matter if you have bad accuracy, if you just fight your opponents in close quarters combat. Alrighty then. Don't really need this HE round here, but I'll take it. I'm going to switch to an AP round here and go and just say, I'm sorry, ISM. It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal, ISM. It's nothing personal, ISM, as we mount you at the end of the game. Okay, where's the Badger? Oh, he's in the corner getting hounded by all of my team. Alrighty then. So, yeah, that was the Type 5 Heavy. The least accurate tier 10 tank, pretty much, all in all. I guess some artillery are less accurate than this vehicle, but this one's still an absolute beast. So I obviously got a really nice matchup here, and I was also very fortunate that my team was so good at playing like the support role. The A phase 1 got rid of the VZ55. That was a lot of the threat on the enemy team. And then that T124 came up and delivered the alpha impact. We had a good crossfire. And then hopefully I showed you that these big caliber guns are so awesome with armor piercing rounds because you can overmatch plates. And if you learn, for example, if I go over to Tanks GG, I can show you here exactly what I'm talking about. You know, when I was fighting that concept there, did I have to fire the expensive high explosive? No. Look, all of these plates here have 25mm, so I can overmatch all of them. His roof deck is 50, so I can overmatch all of that plate as well. It gives you so many interesting opportunities when your tank has a really big caliber gun. And usually the least accurate guns are also the ones that have the biggest calibers as well. So we finish on top there, a decent enough round. Let's just take a quick look at those T49 statistics as well to see who managed to carry me. Well, it was clearly the the T95. But you know what's really weird is we actually finished 4th on experience even though we died so early in that game. I'm going to be boosting that one as well to try and get some of the field mods on that tank. And now, ladies and gents, why don't we take a break from heavy tank combat to try and figure out what the least accurate tank destroyer is. And who would have guessed? Yeah, it's another couple of big caliber guns. Sorry, I got the heavy tank selected there as well. That confuses it. FV4005 at 0.42, joined with the Object 268 version 4 at 0.42. Now, I know my audiences, and I can tell a lot of you aren't really interested in me going and playing the Object 268 version 4, and while I absolutely despise the FV4005, I think I'm going to have to be a good YouTuber, a good content creator, and play it for you today. So I'm going to be using the accuracy module with vents and a rotation device on this vehicle. Let's actually go and have a look on Tomato GG to see how good is the win ratio of this vehicle. How far down do we have to... Oh, God. Uh-oh. That's not looking good. 47% win ratio in the FV4005. Worse than the Gorilla, worse than the WZ113 GFT. What an absolute state this vehicle is in. Now, it's so weird because when you think about it, the FV4005 at one point was arguably the best tier 10 tank destroyer. Although that was when I think it could go at like 50 kilometers an hour, and I believe it had better dispersion and better accuracy. And did it have an even bigger traverse on its turret? Or maybe it just had better traverse speed turret. Anyway, all you need to know is that Wargaming nerfed pretty much everything about this tank. It's really interesting that originally it was terrible, then they buffed it a lot and it became really, really good, and then they had to nerf it again. And it's been so many years since Wargaming actually nerfed vehicles or buffed them. Okay, so this map, it can be okay for this tank, but it also can be awful for this tank. If I can just provide like an ambush opportunity, it can work out for me. But if I get caught out, I really don't have the armor to be able to protect myself. So let's go and take our 0.42 accuracy out onto the battlefield. And when you think about it, 0.42 isn't really even that bad. And with Equipment 2.0 allowing you to improve the accuracy of vehicles, I'm ending up with probably as much or better accuracy than an Object 430U right now on this tank, which is pretty crazy stuff. Okay, so it looks like pretty much the entirety of our team wants to go into the town, apart from the GWE-100, who has gone over towards the east. I'm pretty sure that GWE-100 won't be left long in this game. Alrighty then, so we got a Kranvang who's crossing. Is he going to cross more? No way he comes around that corner. No way he comes around that corner. There's no way. There's no actual way he comes around that corner. Well, why don't I just go around the corner after him? Does that sound like a good idea? I think it does. How about this, bud? How do I low roll like that? How do I actually low roll? 1,597 out of 1,750, and so he actually deals some damage to me as well. But at least we start the game with an HE pen, you know? You can't really complain about doing that kind of damage in World of Tanks, right? You can't complain about doing that kind of damage, boys and girls. It's a good old hit. It's a good old hit, friends. Let's see if we can prepare maybe a little sneaky shot through this gap against the 430U. I think he'll do something stupid. 700 damage there with the high explosive shells. These are expensive rounds, boys and girls. These rounds cost 8,000 credits a pop, but if they do pen, they do 1,750 damage on average. Now, that's not to say that you have to use the HESH rounds on this vehicle. You could use the regular HE, or alternatively, you could use the armor-piercing rounds as well, both of which are very proficient at being able to remove large amounts of hit points from your opponents. The A50M was trying to get a bit of a sneaky shot there, but he's actually missed, which means that I'm going to come round and I'm going to prepare and maybe an ambush shot on him. I really hope he just comes round. If he starts to side scrape, I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble. If he doesn't... Oh, only 600? Oh no, what is this? There's a 60 TP coming. Oh, big misplay by me. Do I need to fall back right now? I don't think so. Shall I load armor-piercing rounds, or maybe if I get the intuition? I have to admit, these HESH rounds, it's really weird. Okay, you know when Wargaming basically just destroyed HE? Well, they destroyed it for everyone who isn't playing the FV4005 and fires 8,000 credits a shot. It's definitely a sad state of affairs. When you think that the most broken high explosive rounds, in my opinion, were the ones on this tank, and they're the only ones that Wargaming didn't really nerf because of the way that the mechanics work with the extra high pen and the extra high caliber on this shell. Is that E50M really going to come around that corner? I don't think he is. In fact, I was actually aiming at the wrong corner there like a complete idiot. Oh my lord, I just noticed they've got two FV4005s at the back. That is pretty ugly. But my team is seemingly making their way around the corner. I'm going to switch to an armor-piercing round here. I hope that the two FV4005s aren't going to go for me. And I'm going to try and see if I can assist my team in attacking around this corner. Maybe we can even get the 277. And least accurate tank manages to still hit its shots. At these kind of distances, though, you know, accuracy isn't so important. Is that E50M really going to come around that corner? He is. He's getting absolutely ripped apart now. Alright, so we managed to do 3,000 damage. Are we going to really try and... Oh my gosh. Please don't see me. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Yes, yes, yes. Come to Papa. Oh, who do I kill? The one at the back or the one at the front? Probably the one nearer me. Oh, he's got not enough hit points now, though. Well, thank goodness I was loading the armor-piercing rounds. Are we going to try and just run away from this guy now? Oh, surely the E50M. The E50M tried to fire HE and he failed to pen. Oh, dear. Alright, well, I'll take 2 kills, 3,670 damage in this game. I guess I was a little bit lucky with where my shells went, and I guess I was pretty lucky that the enemy team didn't manage to hit me. Just going to take this moment to be quiet. I know I'm not usually quiet on my YouTube videos, but let's just listen. How great was this skin? You know, Wargaming, I really wish that you'd just sold this for like $10 or $20 rather than just tried to get people to gamble to be able to get it. But that's just my opinion. What's this EBR going to go? Is he just going to chill in the middle? Is he going to go off towards my arty now? Come on, accuracy, you can hold up. Has he spotted me? Maybe he doesn't think he's spotted. Do you think he thinks he's spotted? A bat chat cross. No way. Oh, he's down. I got spotted by an EBR. Now he's going to start dumping 500 damage into me. Oh my lord, why would you fire high explosive anti-tank rounds at me, you little EBR? You could have fired HE rounds into my turret and you would have done 500 damage. Whey! And we even go eco mode and manage to pen. Well, I don't even know what is there to say. I thought this YouTube video was meant to be frustrating. I thought this YouTube video was meant to be me missing lots of shots in the least accurate tanks. It looks like I am aiming well today, boys and girls. Either that or I'm just getting really lucky as we pretty much dunk the fastest vehicle in the game, although he wasn't really moving very quickly, at about 400 meters there. All right, look. You know, I'm just going to keep going. I mean, how can I not keep rolling with this? We managed to finish #1 on damage, #2 on experience. Games don't usually go this well for me in these big, derpy tanks. I mean, I'm showing you the statistics. They have, like, the worst win ratios, but for some reason, they keep working for me. Alrighty then, so what is the least accurate medium tank in the game at tier 10? Well, would you actually believe? It's the Object 430U. And this one... Again, it doesn't really have the best win ratio when I went and checked. I have no idea why that the 430U, it's kind of sitting. It's not in the bottom third. It's nearly in the bottom third. It's not too bad. It's sitting around about the Leopard, around about the K91. It's above the Progetto 65, which Wargaming decided they needed a nerf for absolutely no reason whatsoever. It's not a bad performer. Now, the thing is that I actually really like the 430U. I think that this thing is one of the best starting tanks that anyone can get. And while I'm not going to use fancy equipment, I don't have all of the field mods on this tank, hopefully I'm still going to be able to do okay. So what you might be seeing here is that having bad accuracy in World of Tanks, while it's not desirable, it's definitely not something that can completely stop you, as long as you focus nowadays on enhancing the bad gun handling. Usually bad accuracy occurs because you weren't able to fully aim the shot. Now, as you could see on my FV4005, I don't use a gun rammer. I use something to improve the accuracy. I use a rotation device to enhance my dispersion, and then I use vents to further improve the accuracy and the dispersion as well. And when I say dispersion, I mean the bloom when you're turning the tank. You would have also seen on the T49, for example, that you can use directives to amplify the worst aspects of the tank. Now, a lot of you might not realize, but the T49 with the derp gun has 0.1 dispersion when it's moving, which is actually really good. That's better than some tier 10 mediums. But it's got 0.3 or even 0.33 dispersion when it's turning its turret. And so accordingly, if you take snapshot and you use the directive that doubles the effectiveness of snapshot if it's at 100%, you can actually further reduce the dispersion of the turret traverse by an additional 15% purely from having a skill on your gunner and by investing that extra 9,000 credits if you buy the snapshot directives in bulk. Now that's obviously a lot to spend to just get 7.5% dispersion, but when you're taking the worst aspects of the tank and you're making them playable because you're using skills and you're using equipment, then it can actually make the vehicles work again. And that's something that that's definitely something that I've been trying to do recently with field mods and I've been doing with equipment. To always think, I've been taking a step back and sometimes thinking, well, I'm just going to get rid of the gun rammer because do I really even need to be firing multiple shots quickly in this vehicle? Or in some tanks, I'll even try and maybe drop vents altogether because I really feel like improving one aspect by a lot is just more useful and I can't afford to really be able to get the vents on a tank like the T95 and what I like to do with my mobility just to stop myself from being able to get tracked. So this video, I hope it's going to be really interesting for all of you to see that while inaccurate tanks are still inaccurate, but quite often inaccurate tanks are that way because people aren't thinking about trying to enhance the accuracy and make sacrifices in some aspects of the vehicle that a lot of players are taking for granted to try and to just make the vehicle playable again is what I guess I'm trying to suggest. Oh, RT for 500, and I think he was just missing. He's aiming at me. He knows what's up. I'll just go around here then and shoot him. Does that sound good? It does. And this is where this tank is just... Oh, Twitch/YouTube. Sorry, I'm so used to streaming. I don't think this one worked out. Uh-oh. Maybe I should focus on playing rather than thinking. Oh dear. Well, I got absolutely clapped by a T110E4 at the back. Do you know what the problem was here? The problem was here is that I decided to play a tank that isn't even that inaccurate, you know? That is what happened here, okay? This is meant to be a video of inaccurate tanks. And I went and played an Object 430U with 0.4 accuracy. That's not an inaccurate tank. All right, I know what to do. I know how to fix this. I'm a professional idiot on the internet, all right? I tried to feature a vehicle that is the most inaccurate medium tank, but really isn't even that inaccurate. That doesn't fit in with the whole meta. We're going to go back to the really inaccurate vehicles that have been working out well for us. So, ladies and gents, let's drop down a good number of tiers and see if today is going to be the day for the infamous KV-2. Now, I'm going to be playing the premium variant of the KV-2, but statistically it's identical. I'm just doing this so I can try and focus up my crew training. When I play the regular KV-2 now, I know I used the 107mm to try and role play back when this thing was at tier 5, although it is definitely at tier 6 now. But we are going to be playing now with 0.6 base accuracy. Utterly horrendous. Now, I am personally going to end up using vents. I'm going to use an improved aiming, and I'm going to be using a gun rammer on this tank. Although it's arguable whether you want to drop the vents or the gun rammer to use a rotation device on this tank instead to be able to improve the dispersion when you're moving and when you're turning the turret, and also to just be able to get your gun more quickly on your targets. The rotation device is an awesome piece of equipment, and even in some high tier heavies like an E100, which really struggles with its turret traverse, and it's oh so important to quickly snap your gun on the target fire and then start turning your turret quickly to avoid them firing a premium round into a flat part of your turret, I actually end up preferring the rotation device to actually vertical stabilizers. Although there's very, very, very small examples, and you're still in the majority of tanks that aren't hampered by their rotation speed, and they don't have, should we say, very flat armor that you want to angle as quickly as possible like the E100, you're still far better to use vertical stabilizers, so don't use rotation devices unless you're putting them on tanks like tank destroyers or tanks like this that are so low tier that they can't use the vertical stabilizers. Alrighty then, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give to you the infamous KV-2, 0.6 accuracy. This thing has been the derp lord for as long as the game has existed. So let's see if we can go and bring the pain to our opponents. So why is this vehicle famous? Well, it's got 910 damage and 86mm of pen on its high explosive rounds. And it has armor-piercing rounds, albeit these are the premium variant of the armor-piercing rounds, with 700 alpha damage and 136mm of penetration. Now, 136mm of penetration is not particularly great, but remember, just like I said with the Type 5 Heavy, because this is a 152mm caliber gun, it's going to overmatch all 50mm plates, and you'll be so surprised about how many plates at the mid-tier that you can manage to overmatch with the armor-piercing rounds on this tank. So ladies and gents, boys and girls, let's try and see if we can manage to use this 500 meters a second shell velocity to provide a derp on someone who's trying to cross this gap. It's okay, it's not a pen. I would have probably done more with AP, but at least these shells are very economical. Alright, so artillery is gunning for the heavy tanks and also gunning for the tanks on my team as well. I'm a little bit concerned in this position. I really feel like I'm about to be artillery focused very heavily, and I don't really want to get caught out. I'm hoping that Stridsvagn M42 does something silly like pops up on the ridge. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drop back. I'm going to drop back and I'm going to go and try and take the high ground. I don't think it's too late to take the high ground. I really didn't expect... Oh, maybe it is. Oh, can we get that M4A1 from down here in the longest range derp known to man? Let's just try it. I think I'm just really lucky in inaccurate tanks today. 430U, usually a vehicle that I'm incredibly consistent in and I dominate the majority of my battles. I'm terrible. KV-2 on the other hand, and all of my derpy tanks, I can't seem to miss. Looks like it's just my lucky day with the guns that are meant to be unlucky. Alrighty then, so we've got a KV-85, a 244, and an M4A1. Yeah, look, I lost my first game in the 430U. Why did I pick that tank? Should have picked the really inaccurate vehicles, right? I guess it just shows that there are no medium tanks that are truly inaccurate. I guess some of the mid-tiers with the 105mm guns might be inaccurate, but really, when you start to get towards the mid-tiers of World of Tanks, on most of the medians, I'm talking about like 6, 7. On some 5 vehicles like the M4 Sherman, you can get away with the 105mm, and definitely on the tier 4, the T6 medium. But I feel like as soon as you start to get a little bit higher up, you should really start to use the armor-piercing rounds on your tanks. Alrighty then, so there's the M4A1. Is this the one that we managed to hit a little bit earlier? I don't want to get hit by that 244. I definitely don't want to get hit by that 244. I'm actually going to switch out to armor-piercing now, using my intuition. And I'm going to see if I can manage to derp a shell into this player over this ridgeline. Can I manage to catch them? How can my artillery not kill the M4A1? Alright, we're going to switch back to HE. And we're going to try and go after this player without the object maybe hitting us. Could be a disaster or could be great. Now he's going to go for me and try and shoot me in the side of the turret, so I'm going to reverse up. I'm going to switch back to AP and I'm going to try and find a shell on the 244. Got to come around the corner real slowly when you've got such a slow tank. That was actually a really good play by him. And boom, baby! 600 damage. That's a low roll. But those are some good trades. We take 2 shots, we take about 400 damage, and we do... Well, we should have done 700, but we low rolled for 600. Still not a bad result. Okay, looks like the enemy team are actually going to try and flank us and come in behind us. So let's actually drop back and see if we can get on this ridge. I don't really like the way that I'm turning my turret right now. I guess it's useful to try and stop the people from getting me in the backside, but I really don't like that play there. I'm trying to think about who I should go for as I come up this ridge. I'm gonna have to turn to the side. Are you seriously going to try and attack me there? So I didn't mean to block this medium, by the way. I'm just a bit concerned about what's coming in behind. Can I even get up here? I think I can. I think I can. I'm gonna switch to an HE. 3, 2, 1, and boom, baby. Oh. Yeah, KV3. Sorry, KV2. Unless you're shooting at very softly armored tanks, it's just not the vehicle that it used to be. I guess I should have tried to aim on maybe his upper hull armor there, but when you've got 0.6 base accuracy, can you really even afford to just take your chances at shooting at weak points when you probably should just be trying to actually hit the target in the first place, right? Alright, so I don't know where this Object 244 is. There he is. Very well played. Sneaky little Object 244. Alright, do you know what I can do then? What I can do is I can actually hard turn around here. I don't think he's going to come after me, and then I can try and dump on the KV-85. Got me good. I got him better. And I just got... Did I get spotting? I didn't get any spotting. Oh. Well, a little bit of spotting. I got like 200 spotting on the 244. A little bit disappointing. Well played to the 244 and the KV-85 for launching all of those gold rounds at me. And yeah, they managed to chunk off most of my hit points. But I'm still standing. And I got 1 kill to my name as well, which is always good. Alright, so we've managed to deal with the enemy's tier 6 heavy tanks. Why don't we try and go and have some fun with some arty or a Scorpion? That Scorpion on the enemy team, and it's not to be confused with the tier 8 German tank destroyer. That's actually the tier 7 American tank destroyer with the C rather than with the K. Actually only has 1mm of armor. And what do you think my gun will deal to 1mm of armor? That's right, we might see a magical roll of 900. Although I did low roll my earlier AP penetration on the KV-85 on the enemy team, so maybe it's not my day for high rolls. Especially when I think about the FV4005 shell as well. That FV4005 shell was really lackluster. We should have definitely managed to destroy that that Kranvang as he came around the corner. So the reason why I hesitated there is I realized that I just did something really stupid. I basically drove out in front of that bush line, and I can tell you that bush line is usually where the Scorpion will be. If I'm the Scorpion, I'm probably there or I'm there. And my KV-2, while it's very scary at managing to one-shot my opponents, it's not so good when it comes down to taking hits and also trying to fight for vision. I pretty much got about as much vision as you'll get on a KV-2, apart from if you take coated optics, because I've got a really good crew, I got a premium consumable, and I got brothers in arms on this tank with situational awareness and recon. Oh, there he is. Is he AFK? Oh my lord, YouTube. It might be a moment. 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 Yes! Only 300 damage though. It's okay though. What a shame that he lost all of his hit points before KV-2 could take what was rightfully his, right? You think that those shells, so you think that those hit points were meant for my team? Wrong. YOLO? Oh, I should have aimed a little bit more. Nightmare! Oh well, it's okay. What is going on? Why is nobody killing him? There's no way I get to reload in time. There's no way I get to reload in time. There's no way I get to reload in time. Stop teasing me. I did reload in time, but it wasn't the result that we wanted. So, ladies and gents, boys and girls, there you have it. The least accurate tanks inside the game. I guess you just gotta roll the dice and hope that you high roll. You hit your sixes, because if you hit your sixes, you're going to hit the tank. And usually the least accurate vehicles are the ones that hit the hardest. And we definitely saw some examples of some truly big hits in this session today. So we finish second on damage, second on experience in the KV-2. It's not a bad result. Definitely not an incredible result for the vehicle. But I guess I should just be happy even hitting in the first place. So those were all of the least accurate tanks in the game. Hope you all had fun with this video today. If you did and you want to see more of this kind of content, then make sure you give the video a thumbs up. If you hated it, however, give it a thumbs down. And let me know if there are any tanks that I specifically missed that you would have wanted to see in this least accurate video. And as always, thank you so much for watching. As I hit my microphone, you've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.